Alright guys, so today we're going to replace all the bearings and bushings in my Traxxas velineon motor. This is the 10th scale size, so it's a 3500 kV, came out of my slash 4x4, and yeah, we'll get going here. So this is the bag of parts you get. I'm going to open it real quick and then explain all the different letters of bags and like what that means, and sort of just do an unboxing of it. Great. Out. So you got the instruction manual, 2 bearings, should be 3 or 4 screws. Yep, 4 of them. And then you've got all your different lettered bags. Now, you're probably wondering, how is there that many bushings in this motor? Well, there isn't. We'll show you here what the manual looks like, and then it'll all make sense. So it's pretty hard to see just from the manual, but I'll just explain it real quick because I do know what I'm doing here. Basically, there's an older version of the velineon motor, and then there's a newer version. The old version, you could take this end bell off and the other end off, where with this newer version, which is what I have, you can just you can only take the rear end off. So that discludes this cover. So this aluminum comes off, where before this whole front end would come off too, but it doesn't, so that's why I haven't taken the motor plate off either. So we'll take these 4 screws out, and then also the rotor on the inside. You've got a couple different combinations. So there's the new style rotor and the old style rotor. So you've got 4 different things that can change, the can and the rotor. So there's 4 different variants of this motor. So going over that again, there's the original can with the original rotor, the original can with the current rotor, the current can with the original rotor, the current can with the current rotor. So 4 different kinds of this motor. I'm like 99% sure this is the current can and current rotor. So all I'm going to need is this bag D, the brass bushings. Not C, but D. But we'll have to find out once I open it. I don't really know, but I'm like 99% sure it's bag D. So we'll see. I'm going to take this motor apart now and yeah, get into it. Pull that off, and then so all these screws are on the outside of the rear. They're Loctited, so make sure they're clean and that you're in them, you know, you're in the screw hole all the way, because you can strip that out pretty easy, since it's, don't want to get those mixed up with the new ones, since it's Loctite. Alright, now that I've got those screws out, you can just use your fingernails. There's a rubber pad up here, so you can sort of just use your fingernails. It'll get in between and it'll actually come out, and then you just sort of run them around. There's really no magnet or anything holding that part on, so it's not a huge deal. It's pretty easy to get off. You can see the bearing in there. There's a little bit of dirt in there, nothing too crazy. Put that down, and then when getting the, yeah, you can see, okay, you can see the brass bushing in there. I'll take it off actually. So you can see the brass bushing. So that means that I have the current can and current motor, or rotor I should say. So yeah, you can sort of just push this down on the table and it will come up, and then you just want to grab onto it with something pretty firm. Maybe I should get a pair of pliers here. I think I will. Get a rag first so I don't screw up the rotor. Sort of drape that over top. Oh wait, I'm not going to be able to pull the rotor out. It's like a magic trick. There we go. So you can see that was just in there. I just didn't want to damage the end of the rotor. So shaft is looking pretty good. You want to keep this away from anything else like metal, because these are like real strong magnets in here. You can actually see where they marked the poles for the motor, which is kind of cool. It stays on there because it really doesn't touch anything. Okay, and then you can see, get up so I can see. You can see way down in there. It's really dark, but you can see that's where the bearing would be. You can sort of see the edge of it there. You're gonna get your four-way wrench to get that out. You're gonna use either of the sides. So here. Oh no, might not work. Might have to take that motor plate off. Okay, so we just recently Loctited these screws in here. And I don't have any Loctite right now. I really don't feel like taking it off and then putting it on and reusing the Loctite. So we're going to take the old bushing, not the new one, the old one that we just took out. It fits in there perfectly. Actually, it sits on the inner race exactly of the bearing. And then you're going to take the four-way wrench and just push it out. And then the bushing falls through with the bearing. And you can see right through it now. You can see no bearing in there. And then we'll take that downstairs here in a sec and clean all the stuff out of it, all the dirt, and just sort of build up with brake cleaner, and then put it all back together with the new bushing from Parts Bag D. Alright guys, so I got some brake cleaner, my motor, no bearings in it. The rotor's obviously not in there, there's nothing in there except for just what it looks like. So you just sort of spray it down, get the crud from the inside out. Not too much. There's rubber and like you know, the wiring and everything, so you don't want to wreck it. But yeah, it's nice and shiny clean in there now, so that's good. Back inside. Got this nice and clean. I'm gonna actually scrub it out with a toothbrush even more. There's a little bit of white like sort of corrosion around the rim there. Probably don't need to, but I mean, while I'm in here, I might as well sort of clean off the edge of the conductors there. Looks pretty good to me. We didn't pop the bearing out of this yet, so we will do that here in a sec, but I'm going to also use my toothbrush, just sort of scrub out all the pockets. Like a lot of the time you see rust in there, and mine there isn't because I don't take it in the water, but yeah, a lot of times you'll see rust and just from the screws. This is aluminum, so it wouldn't rust, but the little tips of the screws that stick through, because water sits in there, so it starts to rust. But yeah, we'll get this bearing out and then put the two new ones in and the bushing, and then throw it back together. I just wanted to say, on the rotor there is some like washers. You can see them. Those don't get replaced. You don't get new ones of those in the parts bag, so don't take those off. They're pretty important, just to stop friction between the bushing and this piece of aluminum in here. So yeah, just make sure you don't take those off, because it'll wear that part of the rotor out, and then you have to get a new motor. I don't think they sell rotors alone. So yeah, we'll pop this bearing out in the next clip. Alright guys, so why did I start like this? Okay. It's gonna like work well enough. Probably not, but anyway. Alright guys, so to get the bearing out of the end belly, you actually want to put it back in. I'm going to do it on top of a sedan tire so I don't like dent my desk, because it's got like a little bit of rubber and stuff. That'd be really nice. Normally I use a rubber mallet, but I don't really have one, so I've got these longboard wheels. They got a bit of weight to them, so I'm just going to smash the top of this with that. Hopefully it works. Probably will. I don't know. It's about the same thing. It's like that rubber. Yep, that worked. Okay. So, pop this back off. I can do that this here. And there it is. Came right out. So you can see it's not in there anymore. Yeah. So you get the other ones, and we'll put them back in. Alright guys, so we're going to put the new bearings back, well, not back in, but we're going to put the new bearings in. I'm going to get it on there, just sort of press it in as far as I can. It's definitely not all the way, but it's pretty close. You know what, I think that's good enough. That's in all the way. Good enough for me at least. Alright guys, we got this Phillips head screwdriver now. It's pretty big, so it doesn't go all the way through the bearing. Just sort of sits in there, which is nice. So I'm going to put it in here, and then I'll hit it with this, I guess. That should be in there. Better be. It doesn't look like it. Nope, not at all. So I just took the bearing out. I used a Q-tip to clean out the little like seat for it, just to see if there's a piece of dirt in there. I'm going to try that again. It should go in pretty easily, so I really don't know what's the problem. Screwdriver's magnetic, so... Yep, it's in. Sweet. Alright. That was a little loud, but that's okay. So yeah, now we move on to the rotor. Now, the bushing goes on this end here, so I'll open this up, get that out for you. Shiny brass one. Parts bag D. So you just want to slide it on there. Nothing fancy. And then get your can back, and you put it in with the long end first. Now, this is going to be really tough. It's magnetic in there, so it's going to want to slide right in there real quick. It's actually going to sort of like suck its way in. Oh, I actually ended up hanging on to the bushing, so I'll put that back on. The rotor's in. I'm going to put the end cap back on. So you want to line up the ABC at the top. Good, okay. And also the screw holes, you want to line those up too. So slide it in. You can see that's lined up. Everything's good. Push that rubber back down because it does sort of create a seal. And yeah, we'll put these screws in. So they're 1.5 millimeter hex screws, which is the smallest Allen key or screwdriver that you have, really. So put that in, not all the way, just until it gets tight. And then I'll go back and tighten it up again. So I'm going to put the one directly across from it in now. So I just put that one in. I'm going to put one in up here, so not to strip anything out or overstress anything. And these screws are like they have Loctite on them already from out of the bag, so you don't have to worry about it. So put that one in. Okay, so now that they're all in, I'm going to sort of go around in an X pattern and just make sure I tighten them all down. It's not really that hard, you just got to make sure you don't tighten the one that's right beside it down. You just got to sort of cross over every time. And finally this one. Alright, so now those are nice and tight. Take this plastic end cap, pop this back on, and put your spur gear back on, or pinion gear back on, and it's totally ready for installation in the truck. Should work just fine. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, hit the like button, think about subscribing, and leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns. Thanks for watching, guys.